This product has a lot of high reviews on Amazon, and it's a projector that seems to not cost a lot of money. You can regularly pick this thing up for about £30 on a deal, and that's about what I paid for mine. And I was really confused because projector and cheap aren't really something that go together. So I was curious, is it any good? Should you buy one? Because I bought one to tell you all about it. We'll just go around the box first before we look at the actual thing. So there's a small bit of information here on the side. It says it does support screens from 22 inches to 167 inches, but on their Amazon page it does say I think 30 to 100 is the optimal type. It does have a few different inputs. It's got speakers built into it. It doesn't weigh a lot either. It says it only weighs 315 grams according to the box. This is the model number, the YG300 Pro. This is the one I have here. Nothing on that side of the box. On this side of the box, now this is quite important, it has multiple inputs, and one of the things that you can do is play media from a memory stick or a micro SD card. So it does support all the typical like audio formats you'd expect: MP3, FLAC, AAC, WAV, and a couple of others. It does support JPEG and PNGs if you want to display pictures on it. But I think the real thing is why you'd want a projector is to play video, and it does support some of the highlights. It supports a lot of them. So it does AVI, MKV, which I quite like, MOV, MP4, and some other ones on there. And it also supports text, which I don't know if you'd want to read text on this, and I'll tell you why in a bit. It's an option. So that's that. Let's have a look at the product and what comes inside. So this is the projector itself. It is quite small. Here's a 3.5-inch hard drive for scale. So for size, it's a little bit shorter. And if we turn it on the side, you'll see it's about what? Maybe 2.5 times the thickness of a 3.5-inch mechanical hard drive. Weird comparison. So on the top, we have a few different things. Power button, some menu control arrows, an OK button. I think that one's back, and I think this one might be source. It's a weird icon on that one. On the back, you have 2 different ways of power in this. So you can power it with a Type-C cable for portable charger. So you could take this camping or outside or into the garden or something like that. 5 volts at 2 amps. It does take your micro SD card here. And on this side, this is the DC in. Plus takes HDMI in. This is so you can obviously plug in like a games console or something into there, or you can do wired phone mirroring, which is something we'll have a look at. You can also use USB media, and there's also a headphone jack here as well for external speakers, headphones, you name it, it's there. There's not a ton else on the side. There is the focus wheel. Don't know if you'll see. You know, it's a very simple focus wheel, but it gets the job done. And also on the bottom as well, there is a tripod. I forget what size this is, but it's like the typical tripod screw mount thing. Nothing else much to mention. There is some ventilation. I would keep this, make sure this has room to breathe. Don't block these vents, because it does create a bit of heat, and it is a fan inside to help with the cooling. So what else did it come with? So it did come with a HDMI cable, quite a nice thick one. I don't think it's 4K, but it's a thick one. It doesn't actually say what resolution this does. I don't know if that's something with projectors. I'm not really a projector guy. I ain't bothered opening it, because if you haven't got a million of these things lying around, what you doing? And next is our BIOS style plug. Yeah, so a 3-pin plug. I will say as well, there does look to be like quite a few of these on Amazon. This PVO one's just the one I got. I'd say they're all the same, probably just a different splash screen. So if you have media on a hard thumb drive or a micro SD card, you can plug that in there as well. And another thing you can do is the phone mirroring, as I mentioned before. I'll show you the message that it says on screen about it's got different things for iPhone, different thing for Android. We'll be using the iPhone method today. And if you get one of these just HDMI to Type-C cables, this worked perfectly fine in my iPhone, and we'll show you that in a bit. But I think the optimal way for this, before we get into looking at the quality, is going to be probably a micro SD card if you're going to actually use this thing. I don't think you want too many cables. Let's get into it and show you what it looks like on. I don't know how this is going to look. Bit of a different setup now. We have the projector on, so do bear in mind when you look at this, it's coming through recording. It's not in the optimal position, but I don't feel like if you're buying a projector like this, you spend this kind of money, that you're going to have a perfect white screen or anything like that to show it up. Maybe you do. So here we are, we have it open. This is on the menu. I've currently got it on a menu screen just to show you what it looks like If you can hear anything, that's the noise of it running. It does make a bit of noise, which is, it's not ideal, and in some scenarios which we'll cover, you may want to think about speakers or something, just connecting a Bluetooth speaker, which is totally an option with this. So the first thing I'm going to show, because it's a little bit of a headache, is I have the iPad mentioned before connected to the projector via the HDMI Type-C cable. One thing I forgot to mention was it comes with a remote. This is the remote. I know this isn't ideal, but yeah, you can see it's actually a nicely, it's not a thick remote, similar style to something like a Fire TV remote. It's actually nice quality. Typically you get like a remote with something like this, it's cheap, it's obviously plastic, it's a nice quality remote, it's not too bad, it doesn't feel like it'll break in your hands. It's certainly not like one of those remotes you'd get with like a pack of cheap LED strip lights or anything like that. It's a nice remote. The buttons feel nice as well. Enough about the remote. If you watched our video on the cheapest portable monitor, we kind of had this issue where if you monitor something, depending on how the app works, especially on, I only really use Apple stuff, so it's the iPad we're doing this on, depending on how the app reacts to having a display plugged into it, depends how your visual will look. So currently I have Netflix on, and Netflix has this playing in TV mode, so it doesn't show the picture on the iPad itself or your phone, it just shows you playing. You've got TV controls. We'll just quickly play like a little bit of this.
Oh, we should leave that for Stu.
And yeah, so it does have speakers built in. I can't play too much audio on Netflix, of course, we'll get copyright stricken. Depending on how the audio is on your video, depends whether you'll need the speakers or not. On things like Netflix and YouTube, it's pretty good. The audio's, it's not brilliant speakers, but they're usable speakers. They're serviceable for what it is without cutting out something else. There is a volume button on the remote as well. Ideally you're going to want it at like 100 really. You don't really want it any lower than 80 just because it's quite quiet, and you also want to drown out the noise of the projector itself. So this is how it looks. So let's say we X out of the show and go back to like, the Netflix menu. As you probably saw there, the screen shrunk a bit, and we just click on the show again that we're watching. We'll just mute this. So if you see, quite big screen there, and if we X out, the screen is quite small, especially if we go to the home screen between apps. I think the mute icon on screen shows it better than this. So if we go to YouTube, so this is the last video on each channel, and if we click, you'll see, especially where the mute icon is, that it's just mirroring the screen. So you're not going to get anything better than what we're mirroring. So I'll play a bit of the audio actually while we've got the speakers. Yeah, you know. Clips and things. A lot of documentation considering like, you know, what you get these days, but hey ho, it's all in there. Some features just telling you to download the extract. The speakers aren't too bad. It is in a weird position at the moment. It's kind of set up on its back, and the screen, the light is pointing at the ceiling. Maybe not the most optimal. So one thing you'll notice that the image quality here is at a far away distance, you know, watching it, it's pretty decent, you know. It's got quite good colours. I was quite impressed with the colours for what it is. The sharpness isn't there. If you that's what I was out before with the reading text thing. You can't read text on this. If we go back to Netflix, you can see that this text is not really readable, and it's not even really YouTube. It's just not great. So that is the like mirroring side of it. It's okay, it's serviceable, especially if you're watching something like Netflix and it does the big picture streaming mode, but something like YouTube doesn't. So the other section on this is we can go and change our source. There's a source button on the remote. We can go over to my pen drive that I got plugged in. If we go over to that, and you can see that we have a few different things in here. So I have some of the monsters in here, and you can see that is a full screen thing. There we got a few different options as well. This is, I think this is an MKV if I remember rightly, so we can fast forward and things like that. But on MKVs, I don't know if it's just these videos that I have, the audio is a bit quieter on the old MKVs, but I think this is where this projector light properly comes into its own. I'm going to turn off the iPad screen, might be affecting the light. The way this thing can read like a files, I think this is ideally what this projector's for. I think if you put these on like a little micro SD card, it's in the machine, it's like invisible. You have a nice little small package, you know, full of entertainment if you're going camping or I don't know, whatever you want to do with the projector. I suppose I should probably put something on it in colour. So you might notice there's a big line going down the screen. That's not the projector itself, that's just my ceiling. So as you can see, there is some more of the just video footage playing. Like I say, it's pretty good, it's pretty serviceable. Like I say, it's nice that it plays multiple formats straight out the box. Overall, for the price, it's not that bad. You know, I was quite honestly surprised. I thought this thing was going to be a hump of junk. I've had a cheap DVD projector before, it's absolutely awful. This thing, not too bad. Speakers could do with being improved. Oh, and I also got to say, there is an issue with the mirroring. I don't know if it's this cable, but sometimes the audio will be juttery. Like, you have to unplug it and plug it in a couple of times to get it to work properly. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just this cable. I've never had problems with my cable before, so I just don't have another one to test it with. But other than that, the audio on like things like this is perfectly fine. Haven't had any issues with the media playback. And this is the home screen here. So before I was on about the mirror inside, and you can see that there's instructions there for Android. You have to use something called Elfcast, and then iPhone is just plug it in, click trust the device, and that's it. You've really got 3 buttons here that just all do the same thing. There's a couple of different settings. If we look at the settings, there's some keystone correction, which if you really want to set that up properly, you can. For this, it's fine. A couple of picture color things, some sound things like that. A little bit of information that you need that. You might be able to system upgrade this. I honestly haven't had a look into that. Bluetooth setup, and there's also, you know, language and stuff like that. Overall, honestly, not bad value for money. I'd recommend it if you wanted something fun. Even if you just use it a couple of times, I think it's definitely worth money. The fact you can power it off a power bank as well, definitely cool for something like that. The only downside is the audio, and it's not the sharpest, but the audio is a bit more worse than the sharpness, I think. But yeah, it's easy to focus as well. So that little wheel on the side, if we look at that now, you can see that that's how the focusing wheel should work. It's pretty easy to set up. It's, like I say, out the box. I think it's perfect for the money. What do you guys think? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.